Hello friends, hope all of you are doing well. In today's session, we are going to deviate our normal routine of covering important topics from the literary criticism and theory paper, that is MEG5 paper, block-wise. Prior to this, I have covered all the important questions from the first three blocks of your MEG5 paper, and the previous session was a very important topic on romantic criticism, that is your block 3. In today's session, we are going to discuss a biography on a very important linguist which came as a short note in your previous term and examination, that is your December 2022 term and examination. Name of the famous linguist is Roman Jakobson, and in today's session we are going to discuss about his background and his important contributions, and also how to attempt this particular question in the exam so that you can ace this particular exam with good marks. Also, I highly recommend my viewers to watch the videos that I have pinned in the description. Those are some interesting videos on love, sacrifice, and much more. So do watch it, and also do consider to join our social community pages so that you are always updated regarding the IGNOS notifications. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Now, surprisingly, in the last term and examination, that was your December term and examination 2022, a lot of questions were asked in short notes on famous linguists, and one of them was Roman Jakobson. Now, Roman Jakobson was a Russian-American linguist and literary theorist who was one of the most famous influential figures of the 20th century. He was born on 1896 and died on 1982. Now, it's totally fine if you don't remember the dates, but do not forget the important key points that he was a Russian-American linguist and he was one of the most famous literary theorists. As I mentioned, he was born in Russia and he studied in the universities of St. Petersburg and Prague, where he developed a strong interest in linguistics and structuralism. Now, later, Jakobson immigrated to US, as I just mentioned, and became a professor at Harvard University, where he continued his research on language and communication. Now, moving forward, we have to also understand that a short note cannot be completed of a particular linguist without mentioning his important contributions. Now, Jakobson's important contributions to the study of language and communication included the development of theory of linguistic functions. Now, this is very important, and this is the turning point in the field of linguistics where Roman Jakobson became the first person to introduce the concept of linguistic functions, which included 6 different communicative functions. Those are referential, emotive, conative, fative, metalingual, and poetic. Now, all of these functions, you have to remember it and mention it in our answers. He also developed the concept of poetic function, which considers that language can be used for artistic purposes, such as creation of poetry or literature. Now, Jakobson's work has had a profound impact on the field of linguistics, semiotics, communication studies, and literary theory. He was a prolific writer and his work has been widely translated and published in many languages. As I said, he died in the year 1982, but his ideas continue to be studied and discussed by scholars and researchers around the world. Now, let me simplify things for you regarding the functions. Regarding, if we talk about functions in mathematical terms, it helps us to derive certain values based on certain parameters. Now, Jakobson exactly translated the same thing in the field of linguistics. He developed certain functions which is related to linguistics. In his case, it was linguistic functions, and 6 different communicative functions are the ones that I've just mentioned, and as you can see in the screen. Also, he developed the concept of poetic function, which kindly states that language can be used for artistic purposes such as creation of poetry or literature. Now, this particular session cannot be over without mentioning the important contributions of Roman Jakobson. Now, here you have to categorize your answer, the later part of your answer, point-wise, so that it looks good and obviously it helps you to score the full marks. Do remember that it is highly possible to score the highest marks in MEG 5 because teachers are willing to give you marks point-wise. So here we are going to mention certain and we are going to highlight certain points in his contributions like theory of linguistic functions, concept of the poetic function, study of structuralism, contribution to semiotics, influence on literary theory, and study of phonetics. Now, coming to the first contribution of Roman Jakobson, that is theory of linguistic function. Here Roman Jakobson developed the theory of linguistic functions which serves 6 different and distinct communicative functions that are referential, emotive, conative, phatic, metalingual, and poetic. Now, this theory remains a seminal contribution to the study of language and communication. Next to this, we have to mention the concept of poetic function, as I mentioned before. Now, Jacobson's concept of the poetic function is a fundamental aspect of his theory of linguistic functions. Let me tell you guys that this particular contribution, that is the poetic function, is very much distinct compared to his other functions. He argued that language can be used for artistic purposes, such as creation of poetry or literature, and that this is a separate function of language that is distinct from its other communicative functions. Followed to this, we have the study of structuralism. Now, this is very vital in the field of literary criticism and theory, the concept of structuralism. Now, Jacobson was a pioneer in the study of structuralism, which is theoretical framework that views language and other cultural systems as having an underlying structure that can be analyzed and described. He applied these ideas to the idea of and study of language and communication, and his work remains a cornerstone of the structuralist tradition. Now, all of you who are confused about what is structuralism, let me highly recommend you to go ahead and check out the playlist of MEG5, that is a literary criticism and theory, in my YouTube channel. You will find a dedicated video on structuralism where I've discussed the different pioneers of structuralism and what basically structuralism is. In this particular session, I'll not go ahead and explain it again. So followed to this, we have the fourth, that is the contributions to semiotics. Now, here Jacobson's work on language and communication has had a significant impact on the field of semiotics, the study of signs and symbols. Now, semiotics means the study of signs and symbols, of course. He was particularly interested in the relationship between language and culture and how meaning is created and communicated through the use of signs and symbols. So, very vital again from the contribution point of view. The next is influence on literary theory. Now, this particular work of Roman Jacobson on the poetic function and linguistic function has had a lasting impact on the field of literary theory. His ideas has been used to analyze and understand the language and form of literature, and his work remains a reference point for scholars and students of literature. The final point that we need to mention in our answer is study of phonetics. Now, Jacobson was also a prominent phonetician and made important contributions to the study of speech sounds and pronunciation. His work in this area helped to advance our understanding of the nature of speech sounds and mechanisms of speech production. Now, we can see that his contribution to the field of linguistics is not just restricted to contributing some important poetic functions and other literary functions or communicative functions, but he has also contributed immensely in the field of phonetics and other similar fields. Overall, we can say that Roman Jacobson's contribution to the study of language and communication have had a lasting impact on many different fields, and his ideas continue to be studied and discussed by scholars and researchers around the world. Now, I hope that you people have got a vivid idea about how to approach the answer. So this is the video, guys. I hope you had an insight regarding how to attempt a short note on a particular linguist. First of all, we have to touch a proper background of the linguist, and then that has to be followed by the important contributions of that popular and eminent linguist. In case if you have any other doubt, do feel free to comment in the comment section. In the next few sessions, I'll try to cover up a few more prominent and famous linguists, which the question which was asked in the last few years term in examinations. And yes, do not forget to check the descriptions, because in the description part, I have mentioned the link of the important playlist and whatever you need. Also, we are working very hard on our website, so that will also be launched before the June term and examinations. So till we meet next time, God bless.